Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dinosha Fernando. I'm the CIO of this company. I'm presenting to you today is the concept of cloud computing and how it will change the business operations in our organization. Let me go through the presentation, what I'm going to do. What cloud computing is, cloud and the insurance industry, associated risk and precautions, advantages, disadvantages, service providers and infrastructure of clouds, what we are trying to achieve, and why we should use cloud computing, and conclusions, references for your further reading if you have some time. The main purpose of my presentation is to prove to you all that the cloud computing can lead to many favorable outcomes and in the day-to-day operations for the organization. Basically, we should move forward from the traditional local storage computing to anywhere, anytime computing. What is cloud? It is the internet. In other words, it's a network of servers. When we check an email, we use a cloud. This concept is different with the traditional computing. In traditional computing, we have the stored data uh, and we run programs in a hard drive. All the components are physically closer. The server is most of the time in-house. But when we go to this new solution of cloud computing, we don't have a hard drive. Software, the infrastructure, platforms are hosted in the internet, which we are called clouds. And these servers can be in different locations. And the cloud vendors are the people who will maintain, store data for us, and they provide us this as a service. And we pay this, and we pay only for the amount that we use, which is like paying your electricity bill. You pay for the amount that we utilize for the utility. There are four types of cloud computing, that is software as a service and platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and business process as a service. Example, business process as a service, we for our day-to-day operations we use PayPal. That is a company. We can outsource the payment process to PayPal. Then we for our clients we just send the link so that they will pay us through PayPal, and we don't need to worry about their credit card information or any other security data. So we have outsourced it to the cloud vendor. And today, in the insurance industry that we are in, we use mainframe systems and paper-based. Mostly our elements are paper-based, and the, in the IT budget we use 85% of the funds allocated to us just to maintain these old legacy systems. This is actually unnecessary cost. If we can hold this data in the web, we just pay to the amount that we utilize, and we are not maintaining it, so we don't have the maintaining cost. We just pay the vendor for the amount that we use. As an insurer, we hold most of the security data of all our clients, and there are associated risks, and we must take some precautions before entering into this new system. That is, when we host the data in the web, we must make sure how much access the cloud vendor employees have on our data. and what are the access levels they have. This is what I mean by privileges that they will be having. Second one is virtually when we store data in the vendor's cloud, vendor is not responsible. Finally, it is we are the ones who are final responsible. And we should know the correct party is inputting the data to the system. And when we before in entering into uh, before entering into a cloud agreement, we must make sure that all the service level agreements, the privacy policies according to the local laws is adhered to. And also, we should know the encryption level of how they are going to store our data in the system and how secure is our data with them, with the vendor, and whether these encryption methods are being tested by the IT specialists. They must give us some sort of a guarantee. And another point is that in a case of system failure, the vendor should be able to restore it as soon as possible, because they host servers in many locations. If one fails, the other one will capture and it will quickly uh, give us the data, or we wouldn't even feel it that the system has crashed. We must know. So uh, we should actually choose the correct uh, cloud vendor in order to proceed with this sort of disaster recovery management. The other thing is there are many vendors uh, who supply clouds, but we must make sure that when we give our data, we should give it to a proper vendor who's actually has experience of doing it and has the privacy policies and various level of agreements, service level agreements that could be offered. The last point is and we should have a clear segregation of duties, what the insurer is responsible and what the cloud vendor is responsible with regard to the data. In generally, there are many advantages of cloud computing. It's better economies of scale, that is the uh, output from the input that we give is high, and scalable storage and processing, that is we we can if there is a demand, we can use higher amount of cloud uh, data or computer power for the processing. And many there may be many months which we do not use as much high as this peak periods, so we can just pay for what we use. Higher productivity and collaboration is another thing, that we can instantly know what the responsiveness of our clients, and we can capture their data quickly from different locations, and we can achieve standardization, and it's very short time taken to implement. We just go to vendor and we can go through the service level agreements. If we agree, we can just go ahead and uh, do the thing, and the total cost is low. With all this, there are a few disadvantages as well. Among but advantages, the disadvantages of this is the mainly the privacy or the security concerns, like who enters the data and whether how secure it is, and compliance issues sometimes, who governs the cloud computing body, this, and the lack of integration. Although there cannot be like sometimes integration must can be low with the we have to rely on the ISP provider. Sometimes internet can be slow, so there can be various issues, and the lack of standardization sometimes occurs uh, because different people are accessing data from different locations. There are few members, 3 tera, it's a infrastructure one, and Akamai is also infrastructure. Amazon uh, is also infrastructure. Google Apps, iCloud, Salesforce, and are all software as a service they provide. And VMware is a infrastructure. You can go through my leaflet and see the. Uh, I have gone through the IRR and the net present value and the profitability index of, if we implement cloud computing, how much we can achieve. Payback period is just 3.37 years, and net present value is 8.15 with the data I have taken. And the rate of return is 35%. Profitability index is also in place. So it's a better viable solution for us to move into cloud computing. Why we should use cloud computing is, as insurers, it can be shared by multiple users, that is our agents, and cloud can be dynamically reallocated per demand. There may be few areas where we need, there may be peak times and less peak times, so we just pay for what we use. And all these we don't need the expert knowledge. It's just in the cloud. We just use the software. So we will be able to focus more on our core business rather than spending more money on the IT. And also, when we don't have the servers, we don't consume more power. So we can use it. So it's environmental friendly. So the carbon emissions are less. In conclusion, this is a new emerging platform, and many good companies are using this as a solution. So it's a this has given them scalability. The cost has been reduced. So I think the company should move forward with a reliable, renowned cloud service such as Google Apps or Amazon or Salesforce in order to achieve all this new technology. Thank you.